you continue doing Prairie View classes or just studying this
Classes
program?
and studying.
Okay.
Because I really didn't know anything. I didn't have to know anything. I mean, like I just showed you one book, which wasn't even my yearbook, with two women. One of them gave the reign back, the other one he married. Mm-hmm. When we moved from House of Music to the Jackson's House of Music on Tennessee and Hattie, which was, he had this building was built. He had it built. Well, Catherine Sattler had a lot of land down there in Cleveland, Texas. So between his shit and her having money and viability, she had the viability in the white community. She had white women as customers, mm-hmm. although she taught, but she had these, well-paying, well-connected customers. So he was able to get one of them big refrigerators. You remember, we're talking about a day and age when you walk in certain business, they wouldn't even sell you shit.
And her business was a beauty shop?
She taught what's called cosmetology, which is hairdressing.
But then she had her own business.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. That's how black people are in most of these things made extra money.
So he got a nice refrigerator?
With them great big walk-ins, through connections. You have to have connections. That I didn't learn. I did learn. But Arnett made it very clear to me, walking down the street one day, he said, it's raining. The sun was shining like a motherfucker. Hot. He talking about it's raining. And he said, you're going to have to get your Juba to sponsor you. I had never heard it. No, I didn't know anything about that kind of stuff. But it was very true. You got to have a protector. Someone who can manipulate the system. Who has enough power to make calls mm-hmm. on your behalf and something get done. He taught me, he taught the girl who was with us, he taught Waylon. Waylon got went straight to IBM from Prairie View. And he's retired now, but he was like on retainer, like $20,000, $50,000 then. For if a computer broke down, no matter what country or where, they just ship him there. He went to that IBM school up there in Poughkeepsie, mm-hmm. and was very. His daddy and mom and daddy was both taught math, so he just grew up in it. So he had that kind of mind. And I actually have him on video on the tape that I'm gonna have to get from Taj, so you can see it. You can take it up to the school. See, I was looking for it, and then I realized Taj has it. Mm-hmm. It's also the same tape that has the interview with John Hicks, where he's talking about a lot of the stuff at Lincoln. So after 2 years, he got us all in these different schools. He got Milan into University of South Dakota because he had all these hookups with people he knew from UConn. Mm-hmm. And he was very good in psychiatry. People respected him in that. He created new ways of doing things, although he never got credit for it.
What is his name again?
His name was Herbert Joseph Brown.
Herbert Joseph Brown, okay.
He was roommates and friend of Dr. Einbinder. Dr. Einbinder was one I told you about, the first cat I met who had written this book and got paid off over $1 million or something then for writing a critique about the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Okay.
So it was he had that kind of hookup. And on this video is also, they tell you some other stuff about Dr. Einbinder, because I didn't know all the stuff in detail. He was taught at, I don't know what he taught, physics or some kind of crazy shit now. Mm-hmm. Algebra, something like that, geometry, at Columbia. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the first people I met when I got to New York, because Brother Brown took me over to his crib, over there by Columbia. And he's just as absent-minded as could be there. But you could tell he was a very brilliant person. Mm-hmm. And he got Milan into the University of North Dakota. He got Whalen and IBM up there in Poughkeepsie. He got, I don't remember the girl's name, but he got her into Rutgers. And what's the name that went up there? What's the name I told you about Wayne State? But he couldn't get me. in the school, so I had to go to University of Bridgeport.
So this is after 2 years
At
Prairie
Prairie
View.
Right.
So what year are we talking about? The
62.
academic 62?
60 to 62, I was at Prairie View.
Okay, so fall of 62, you get into Bridgeport.
University of Bridgeport.
You're 22 years old.
22.
All right.
And it is like the Jewish University of the East Coast. Because you had all these executive families from the Garment district. Like one of my friends was named Dubinsky. Well, Dubinsky's uncle, his father's brother, name is on, written real big right now down there on 26, 27th Street on that Fashion Institute. Because they started the fashion industry down there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they were Russian Jewish people. And he was in a sports car at that time, one of the first Datsun sports car, the first one that came over here. He also was the LSD cooker because he had connection up there at MIT. His friends, he had friends he went to school with were at MIT, and they were the ones who had the formula for cooking LSD. So
This is Dubinsky, the Dubinsky who was your age.
right,
All right.
right. Now, I get to University of Bridgeport. I come from Prairie View where the library is not open, open about to 7 in the evening, maybe 8 one night or something, and then closed on Sunday. You're supposed to go to church, you know, so that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I get to University of Bridgeport. I mean, Brother Brown had me doing all kind of shit that I didn't know what it was teaching me, but I, you know, go over to the library and check out check out the book Critique of Pure Reasoning by Immanuel Kant. Well, I go to do that. He knows you can't check it out. He only had one copy, and only the teachers could, and they couldn't take it out of the building. So it's this way of teaching somebody by leading them into these situations that you already know the outcome,
Mm-hmm.
but the person will be imprinted without a mistake, without a doubt about what that situation is.
Because you're figuring out how the academic system works.
Right. Now I get to University of Bridgeport. The library is open 24 hours a day. There are couches throughout. You can take any book you want, as many as you want. And most time and on top of that, the police come to my apartment to arrest me because the year before was a fellow named Ronaldshannonjackson who had left with a whole lot of books from the public library there. And he was black too.
Another case of mistaken identity.
Right. Right. So, but my point is, you know, here's and I run some kind of way. I run into Walden. What's his name? No, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Marched to a different drummer. Well, this shit blew my mind. You know, I mean, I never heard no shit like this. So at the University of Bridgeport, where you have access to printing machines and free paper, I print up me a whole pile of this saying March to a different drummer, and with some tape and go around school posting it up because I want everybody else to know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. I'm that dumb then. You know, I didn't know, and I thought everybody else didn't know. You know, so it was. But I got an A in speech. Yeah, it was one of my best classes, speech. I had given a speech about how the drums, which were becoming subjugated really by this point, but how in actuality, if you look at it, the saxophone and drums had been the lead instruments in the evolvement of the music that we call now bebop. You know, Charlie Parker, Max Roach, Elvin Jones, Coltrane, and then you just go back.
Mm-hmm.
Babby Dobb, Louis Armstrong, and other people, Chick Webb, and I mean, the most known would be Ella Fitzgerald, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But you had the drums there as the foundation. When the drums ain't working, none of this shit's working. You know, you can play the rhythm and be accurate with the beat. But if the spirit is not there, injected with that, then that's what's absent. Mm-hmm. So we were. I gave speeches about this kind of thing. I wrote them. I'd write them out, you know, because I was, you know, that's what I was interested in. You know, the better I learned, the more I learned to read, the more I would read stuff about, you know, music and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm there at the university. I'm checking out. Look, I'm just first I was living at the YMCA, and then I moved into this like frat house type thing. Because I didn't get accepted until late. It was almost like I almost didn't go. You know? Mm-hmm. And finally, him and Dr. Ironbound pulled some strings and got me in there. And it wasn't like me going to a black college where my mother's friend who was secretary of the high school could just doctor the grades and you get in. No, this is a whole nother situation. Mm-hmm. In fact, I didn't realize until later when I met my first wife, Dorothy, there wasn't but 7 black students there, and 3 of them were from Africa.
In the whole university?
The whole university.
Wow.
In the whole university, and you could walk out of some of the building, classroom buildings, and some of the dorms right next to it was chic razor blade and shit. Next to that is Remington bullet manufacturer. Next to that is one of the main ball bearing plants for airplane parts. And then when you walk right out in the university, you walk right down to the beach, and dive into the bay. Hmm. And in that year, it was the Playboy Beach University of the Year, something like that. It was. I mean, I'm saying I didn't. You know, I mean, it was there in Playboy. It just happened to be the school I was going to there. Now I didn't know anything about all this other stuff. Now, you know, you have to remember Martin Luther King is spinning his wheels. So. Where I'm staying there on Park Avenue, the church where he gave the street was right across the street from me.
The church where he did what?
Where he gave a speech.
Oh.
You know, not the My Dream speech, but the encouragement speech. The speech, same kind of speech that had me latch on to Brother Brown, had me latch on to Martin Luther King, because he was somebody who actually talked with conviction and, as far as you knew what they were talking about. Because you know the other motherfucker didn't know. I mean, they were really, I mean, it's like, you know, my father used to tell me about how, you know, you can get cats on the corner, they be holding up the corner, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. If you ask them a question, they're going to give you an answer, whether they know answer or not. If you ask them, say, directions for something, they're going to send you somewhere. Mm-hmm. They might not know what the hell you're talking about, but you're going to see something. They're going to give you, you know, in other words, they got an answer for something, whether they know it or not. Yeah. Well, here's these 2 people that first Brother Brown, who was, and then here's Martin Luther King. I'm saying, wait a minute. You know, by this time, Sikorsky Division of United Aircraft, which had all these Army contracts, had to start hiring black people in office situations, which they had none. They had people working in the factory part with the yellow badge.
Yeah.
But none in the main office. And the main office was a huge office with cubicles, about 7 cubicles. Here's the economic advisor. Here's the most of them were engineers by training. Even the one who I was working for, and I was working for him as a market statistician, and I learned how to work Frieden calculator and shit. That's what I was doing there. You know, the job they gave me was supposed to take 3 months, and I got high on some bennies. Some black beauty, dexedrine one weekend. Went out there because I had secret clearance. I could go out there anytime I wanted to.
This is while going to school?
Yeah.
Okay, like part-time work study?
Part-time.
All right.
And by the time my mother had bought me this brand new MGB because they didn't have to pay me to go to school. So they asked for a black student with a car. You had to have a car to get there. Like I said, it was only, you know, and Dorothy was the only female.
So she went to school there too?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was there through one of the similar connections. Her sugar daddy, and I just talked with her for the first time last night in years. You know, she sent me a Christmas card. I hadn't heard from her. I told you once before, she's very wealthy now.
Where does she live?
She lives in the luxury. They made them luxury apartments now, but they were the garment industry apartments when she was teaching school down there. When she was teaching the Winan brothers, who created that show Living Colors, which Jim Carrey and Jamie Foxx and all them come out of.
So she lives in Manhattan?
She lives in Manhattan, downtown, in between, in the garment district.
Like the 30s, or what is that?
No, it's below the 30s. It's between 23rd up to 28th Street.
Okay.
By 28th, 29th Street. She has a condo there, 2 down in the Bahamas. All kind of timeshare and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But her sugar daddy, the person who got her into the University of Bridgeport, was Tommy Beach of the Beach and Hamilton family. You know, when you get them blenders and shit, well, them same people make them engines for jets. And it's all part of the DuPont family.
Like Beechcraft? Like airplanes and stuff?
Right.
Okay.
Tommy Beach, she had her daughter at 13 and went to night school and got a high school degree and was working, the first black person they hired in the cafeteria at the DuPont in Delaware. She went to school with Clifford Brown, Jimmy Smith, Lyle, what's the name, the violin player. She was with all these people in Wilmington, Delaware.
Wilmington, Delaware.
Right.
Been there many times.
Huh?
Been there a lot. Okay.
The first time I went there, I'd never been there. I went right to her house. But anyway, that's another thing I'll tell you.
All right.
She had gotten this job at DuPont in the cafeteria. Well, Tommy Beach is one of these kind of nondescript persons who don't want nobody to know who he is. You know, our rich people are very, they don't want people asking for money. So if you didn't know who he was, you wouldn't know him because he'd be dressed. If he was around here now, you'd be dressed something like you dress, okay?
Okay.
Now, he overhears the other white waitresses talking about what they're going to do to fuck up this black waitress they done hired. They don't know. It's his folks' business, you know? So he takes it up on himself to protect this girl who he'd never met, but he knows something devious is finna happen to her.
Okay. She's
supposed to be carrying these trays. And they supposed to trip out something. Well, he thwarted that. And in the meantime, it surfaced, and they met. And he helped her get into the University of Bridgeport, because she wanted to better herself.